All right, pattern's going to be absolutely loaded in the next week. Next week, the storms are going to target the East Coast. This week, it's been in the Midwest. Next week, as far as snow is concerned, it's going to be into the Northeast, no doubt about it. Really quickly, this is some of the more impactful weather I've seen for Wildcard Weekend. I want to go over the games really quick, and then we'll get into next week. All right, for Miami at Kansas City, take a look at these temperatures here. And to tell you the truth, let me go full on this so you can see it. I think temperatures here are going to be below zero by the third quarter. I could see these temperatures actually being about 4 or 5 degrees lower than this, and AccuWeather real field temperatures 10 to 20 degrees below zero. This is going to be an absolutely frigid game, and it's Miami of all teams that have to play in it. This is the most interesting game here. There's going to be a band of lake effect snow that goes into Orchard Park. Saturday night, I could, probably nearly a foot of snow here. The question is, on game time on Sunday, it looks to me like the winds are going to be more out of 260. And 260, you would get a single lake effect snow band that would be south of Orchard Park. So if you're traveling to the game, I think right now, Sunday morning, if you're north of Orchard Park coming on in, you won't be anything more than flurries. But there's going to be a single band, a concentrated band of lake effect that's going to be near Orchard Park on Sunday. I think it might be just off to the south, but within that snow band, especially if it sits there, you can get 1 to 2 feet of snow because you're going to be looking at snowfall rates of 2 to 3 inches per hour with whiteouts and with wind gusts over 30 miles per hour, extensive blowing and drifting. Do you really want anybody traveling anywhere near Orchard Park on Sunday in that band? My answer to that is no, you do not. So the NFL is a really tough question here because I think it's going to snow hard in Orchard Park Saturday night and the Sunday morning. The band probably shifts off to the south, but within that snow band, there's probably going to be travel bans. So the NFL is a real tough forecast there. I want to take you down to Dallas. Yes, I know AT&T Stadium is a dome, but you know what I'm worried about here? The second half of the game, I think you're going to start getting snow and sleet to break out. So if you're at the game here, you'll get to the game without a problem, but I think roads can become snow-covered, slippery, and treacherous second part of the game. You may have a lot of trouble getting home from this game Sunday afternoon and Sunday evening in Arlington. Lastly, the Eagles, they're playing in Tampa. You know what? I'm worried about showers and thunderstorms here. And if there's thunderstorms during the game will get delayed. So that's yet another game that's going to be impacted from the weather. So some of the worst weather that I've seen for Wild Card Weekend that I can remember. All right. Now let's talk about next week because the pattern is absolutely loaded next week. I want to show you the surface map here really quickly, and then I'm going to get into what's going to be happening here. Let's go over our storm. We're not going to go over much of it. So this storm, and this is the European model, European GFS, Friday into Friday night. Look at that storm come northward. By Sunday morning, it's gone. GFS European, GFS European, they're also the same thing. But you know what I'm looking at here is you have a boundary that is now stalled out here across Texas. Boundaries are locations where storms are going to form. And you have more energy diving southeast where across the Intermountain West, that's going to form a storm across Texas, and then we're going to be tracking that storm as we head into next week. Let me show you the upper air pattern with this, and you can see what I mean here. Let's go to the upper air pattern. I'll show you that energy that we're going to be tracking. So again, you have a boundary that is stuck here from Florida into Texas. All right, there's the boundary. Let me go forward here. Watch this next piece of energy here. So as we get into Sunday morning, this is the piece that I'm looking at right in here. And you're going to have a trough digging southward as well. Watch how this comes together. This is Sunday morning on the European. Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening. Here we go. Monday night, Sunday night, Monday morning. So here's what's going on. You have a deepening trough in here. You've got a weakening system out ahead of this trough. All right. So what you're going to do is you're going to get a storm to form in here, and that's going to move to the northeast. Right? That's the European. This is the GFS, very similar, although the trough on the GFS not as strong as the European. European GFS, European GFS. So the European is a little stronger and a little farther south and east. Let's go to Monday evening. Look what goes on here. European GFS. European GFS. See, the GFS is not as strong with this. So what's going to happen is the GFS is hinting at more of a flat wave coming to the northeast. The European says, you're going to get a storm in here, and my northern trough is going to deepen, and look what happens. It becomes negatively tilted by Tuesday morning. What does that mean? Tilted from northeast to southwest. So that's going to mean that this storm is going to strengthen, come northward, and this will end up being a big snowstorm for New England. Little difference in the modeling, but you can see that there's a storm coming. No matter what you look at, you've got this trough coming. You have a boundary stuck. Here's the GFS. It's a little flatter and weaker. European, much stronger, and then that swings on through. Look at that. Look at the difference by Tuesday evening. European GFS, European GFS, European GFS. See, the European GFS is slightly weaker. So what does that mean? Well, I want to show you the scenario with this as we go forward. So here's the scenario. If the GFS is right, this is going to be a weaker wave. And what you're going to end up doing is getting an area of snow, probably in the Appalachians, and you'll get the snow, and it might go all the way up in the Boston area. You'll get a storm like this, and you'll get a snow area in here. Now, it's not going to be as strong. You're not going to get 8-9 inches of snow, but you can get a 1 to 2, 1 to 3, 3 to 6 inch snow band. And I could see how it starts snowing in cities like Baltimore, Washington, Philadelphia, New York City. It won't be a big storm, but it'll be a disruptive storm. This will be Monday night into Tuesday. The other scenario is the trough is deeper and stronger, so the storm is offshore, and then it comes right up the coast, and then you get a big snowstorm here from the central Appalachians. It would be north and west of Washington, D.C. and Philadelphia, probably New York City, but this would end up being a big snowstorm in here. North and west of Boston as well, where you'd probably get a foot of snow in northern New England. That would be Sunday night, Monday. Let me show you the surface pattern with this, and you can see the difference itself. Wanted to make it easy that you could see the differences here. But let me go to the surface panel here, and you can see what the difference in the modeling is. So, here is the European, this is the European model. We'll do this first. So here we are, it's Monday morning. Watch the storm. There it goes. It's right down in here. Now, you're getting a little stripe of snow here in the central Appalachians, but then the storm comes northward. It has more energy to work with, and watch how it deepens. Monday afternoon, Monday night, Tuesday morning, you have a 987 low, but because of the trough is back here, you're going to get the snow all the way back into the Appalachians here. And, you know, this would even be a close call for Baltimore and Washington, D.C. I think it would mostly be off to your north and west, but this is where you'd get a big snowstorm right in there. And it would cover much of the central Appalachians, just west of Baltimore, Washington, D.C., around Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, most of eastern Pennsylvania, and then New York State gets crunched with snow. This would be a big snowstorm back in here across probably the Green and White Mountains, but especially the Adirondacks. And then the Arctic air comes in. Now, the GFS, a little flatter. Watch the difference in the modeling because of the energy is different. This is a GFS. You see, you get this area of snow. Here it is Monday afternoon. You're getting it in the central Appalachians. It's not heavy snow, but then watch the storm come northward. It does strengthen, just not as much as the GFS, so as the European. So your snow area would end up being farther east and would include cities like Philadelphia, Baltimore, Washington, New York City. In here, you'd end up getting at least a few inches of snow. In some spots, we get 3 to 6. But because it's flatter, right, it's not as strong. What do I believe? I believe the European's going to be right on this. And what do I mean by that is that I believe the European is going to end up being stronger with the piece of energy. So what you end up getting is, watch this trough dig. I say dig or strengthen right in here. This is the European. Watch, see? And the European stronger. GFS European, GFS European. Tuesday morning, GFS European. See, there's the difference in the modeling. I think the European's going to be right on this. Why? Because you have an injection of Arctic air coming. By the way, we're not done. We're not done. Really quickly, and then I got to go. This storm goes by, right? This energy goes by. You get a little break in the action, and look what's coming down the pike here. Another deepening trough, very similar to what we're looking at right now, early next week. Here's the European. Watch what the trough does. it comes eastward, and you're going to get another storm to develop here. This one will probably be a little farther south, and this is going to give cities like Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, New York City a better chance of snow. The GFS is somewhat similar, just a little weaker, but they all show this next trough coming in the cold air. Let me show you the surface map, and you can see what I mean and why we're worried about this. This would be Friday night. This would be Friday night. So here we go. This is the European. Here comes the storm. Friday night. Look at that. Right up in here. This would be a close call for Washington, D.C. Probably rain for Philly. We'll see. But certainly New York City, you're on the edge. Boston, you would get the snow. Europe, GFS, flatter. Mostly offshore, but still some snow. So again, right now, I'm not sure how this is going to come out late week, but what do I see? I see Arctic air and another trough, and that tells me there's another threat for a snowstorm in the mid-Atlantic and Northeast as we head in the latter half of next week. This is what the pattern would look like, right in here. This is what we're looking at late next week. So if listen, I know everybody's screaming for snow around Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, New York City. I don't think you're going to get it with the first storm. I do think you have a shot, not Monday, Tuesday, but late next week. But I see 2 snowstorms coming along the East Coast as we head in the next week. So buckle up and get ready. This pattern is loaded. After next week, Friday, then I think the pattern relaxes. But we've got a lot of cold air, and once you get the cold air, you're going to have the snow to follow. So stay tuned.